Welcome back to Flick Favorites. I'm going to explain a crime, mystery, thriller film from 1995, titled, The Usual Suspects. Spoilers ahead. Enjoy the content. Just after midnight in San Pedro, Dean is sitting on the deck of a large boat, unable to move his legs, when he is approached by a mysterious figure who he addresses as Keyser. Before Keyser kills him, lights the boat on fire, and debarks, they have a brief conversation. Later, Roger is recalling the events leading up to the tragic scenario on the boat while seated in the witness chair in a courtroom in California. 5 individuals were detained by police 6 weeks ago from all throughout New York City. Todd, McManus, Fred, Dean, and Roger are brought to the NYPD for questioning in relation to a stolen vehicle that was packed with weapons. The 5 suspects entertain the police lineup and are drilled throughout the night as they deny involvement with the stolen truck. It's clear from Dean's interrogation that the police are particularly irritated with him because of an earlier event in which they believed Dean to be dead. The men begin conversing while spending the night in the same detention cell. Despite the fact that they are all accomplished thieves with a solid track record, it becomes apparent that none of them were involved in stealing the loaded truck. The only person who is morally upright is Dean, who is seeing Edie, a successful criminal defense attorney from uptown. Todd and Roger show curiosity when McManus fills them in on the facts of a project he and Fred learned about, but Dean says he has no interest in becoming involved. FBI agent Jack is present as the cops line up body bags next to the burning boat on the dock in modern-day San Pedro. He asks a police officer whether there are any survivors, and the officer replies that there are 2. The district attorney has the second man, a crippled man, and the man in a coma in the county hospital. Sergeant Jeffrey refuses to let Special Agent Dave talk to Roger in the San Pedro police station, explaining that Roger is shielded from any danger and has complete immunity. Dave wants to question Roger because he believes that he is hiding information from them. He wants to know why 27 men died in the harbor over $91 million worth of dope deal that wasn't even there and, above all, he wants confirmation that Dean is dead. Dave is informed by Jeffrey that Dean could not have lived. Jack shows up to the hospital determined to chat with the Hungarian survivor who only recently came to. He makes a translation request over the phone. The survivor is furious and shouting out strange words that nobody in the room can understand, but he keeps repeating the name, Keyser Söze. Jack instructs the caller to find Dave Cugin from customs, after being taken aback. In Jeffrey's office, Dave is questioning Roger, and they dispute over Dean's personality. Roger argues that even if Dave claims he was a dishonest police officer 15 years ago, the authorities still wouldn't allow him go on his own. Dave asks Roger to describe what transpired following the lineup as Jeffrey asks if they can begin. Dean and Edie left the NYPD 6 weeks ago. Dean confides in her that he is disappointed and says that everyone in the city would reject him since they will now learn that he was a criminal. When he sees Roger hobbling across the street and looks into the eyes of the other males who are all gazing back at him, he gets distracted and begs him not to quit up. Edie begs him not to. To persuade Dean to take part in a hit on a cab service, Roger goes to his flat. He tells Dean that the guys sent him to offer him a cut of the $3 million that they'll score from the emeralds they get away with. He claims to have a plan for carrying out the hit without killing anyone, but the men won't let him in until he convinces Dean to join him. Dean joins the group, and together they successfully take down the corrupt NYPD policeman ring known as New York's finest taxi service, which transports smugglers and drug traffickers across the city. They steal the emeralds, torch the police vehicle, and then flee. To retaliate against the police for detaining them on false accusations, Dean provides the media with an anonymous tip. The press arrives at the crime scene before the police and the story goes mainstream, which results in the 2 cops who were driving getting indicted and more than 50 dirty cops connected to the illegal taxi service going down with them. Back in the present, Dave isn't believing Roger's narrative that Dean resigned for a lady and that hitting the cab business wasn't his idea. He claims to have been looking into Dean for 3 years and that, before being fired from the department, he had been charged 7 times, including 3 times for murder. Dave enumerates a number of Dean's further misdeeds while implying that he staged his own demise after murdering a witness who was about to testify against him. Roger is adamant that Dave is misinterpreting Dean. Agent Jack is there at the hospital survivor's room along with a translator and a composite sketch artist. The survivor tells them he saw Keyser Söze, the devil, and describes him to the sketch artist who begins sketching. When Dave returns to the workplace, he accuses Roger of fabricating the story that he saw Dean die on the boat in order to protect him, asking, "Are you stupid enough to think you are friends?" Roger claims that Kobayashi, the attorney, was responsible for all of this and not Dean. Roger keeps narrating because Dave wants him to reveal every little detail if he wants to persuade him that Dean is gone. Following the release of their smash single, the boys travel to Los Angeles to sell the emeralds to McManus's contact, who inquires about potential more employment. McManus inquires more about the employment when Dean responds that they are on vacation. Redfoot says that there's a jeweler that he wants to rob. He tells them that if they pull it off they can keep the cash and he'll take the merchandise. The boys finish the task, but not everything goes as well as it did the first time. The jeweler grabs his revolver during the robbery and fires a stray gunshot as Dean struggles to take the gun away from him. Todd and Fred are being held by the bodyguards when McManus emerges from behind a vehicle and opens fire on both of them. Roger shoots the jeweler because he continues to refuse to give the case to him, and Dean then takes the case. When the lads open the case and discover plastic packets containing powder, they become outraged. When they get at his location, McManus is prepared to murder his contact. Dean declares that he will handle it in his own manner. When McManus's contact and his men arrive, he says that he doesn't know what's in the bags and that he was given the job by a lawyer but he doesn't know who he is. When Dean expresses his desire to meet the attorney, his contact responds that the attorney shares this desire. Present-day Jack shows up to the San Pedro police station and informs Dave that there was no dope, so he may quit hunting for it. He promises that the $91 million has nothing to do with a drug trade and claims that the survivor he was with in LA County is a member of the Hungarian mob, but he has no idea what the money was used for. Jack updates Dave on all the information he received from the Hungarian. To find out who Keyser Söze is, Dave barges into Jeffrey's office. When Mr. Kobayashi enters and introduces himself, he claims that his boss needs their skills for an extremely risky assignment, and while he doesn't expect all of them to make it out alive, those that do will each receive $91 million. Kobayashi responds that Keyser Söze is his employer when Dean asks who his boss is. Except for Roger, who wonders who Keyser is, the boys are all astonished when they hear his name. This is a command, not a request, according to Kobayashi. All of them, he claims, had previously stolen from Keyser, and the only reason they are still alive is because they had no idea who they were robbing. Nevertheless, they still owe him. Kobayashi threatens the team by killing the jeweler. He explains their assignment. Keyser wants them to destroy all the marijuana aboard a boat. After handing them a briefcase, Kobayashi departs. Maps of the boat and envelopes for each of them may be found when Dean opens the case. Keyser is viewed as a fantasy by Dean, credible by Fred, but unlikely by Todd, who suspects Kobayashi is an LAPD agent and that the whole thing is a setup. Once more, Roger queries, who is Keyser Söze? When Kobayashi and his two bodyguards enter an elevator, the guys are in an office building and are wearing maintenance uniforms. The lights go out as the doors shut, and McManus kills both bodyguards. Kobayashi is told to press 20 by him. Dean informs Kobayashi that the answer is no and that Keyser is not genuine while they are on the 20th floor. He offers Kobayashi one more opportunity to end the whole situation, but he refuses and claims Keyser won't alter his decision once he makes up his mind. They cannot threaten him with anything worse than what Keyser will do to him if he disobeys his commands, he tells them. When Kobayashi indicates that he has come to conduct business with Edie, who is upstairs, McManus is going to shoot Kobayashi. Following Kobayashi, the boys arrive to an office where they catch a glimpse of Edie through the window. Indicating that they can reach Edie at any time, Kobayashi points to the escort standing close to her and assures them that he never leaves her side. Get some rest, he says, otherwise the bodyguard will take care of Edie and he doesn't want to see them again. It's daytime and the crew is sitting in a car surveilling the harbor, trying to devise a feasible plan that doesn't get them all killed. In contrast, Dean claims that if they wait until they get the money, there will be more men on board and no one would survive if they jack the boat now. McManus and Todd decide to hold off on taking a cut until the money shows up. The team settles into their places as the crowd approaches after dark. Dean turns to Roger and asks him to remain put as he whispers to him. He instructs Roger that if the others fail to escape, he wants him to take the money, track down Edie, and inform her of everything so that she will know what to do. Dean leaves Roger behind and walks the pier towards the mob while McManus is on the rooftop watching through a sniper rifle. He asks the guys who have gathered in a circle around him if there is a problem as he moves closer to the group. Todd detonates a bomb on the boat and then leaves while the crowd is diverted. When the device detonates, mayhem ensues, and Dean and McManus each shoot down 2 guys. Todd is able to shoot down a number of the gang members on the deck while others manage to flee to the inside of the boat. Todd goes up to the vehicle and unlocks the back doors as Dean and McManus are on the boat pursuing and killing gang members. He opens one of the cartons and discovers wads of cash inside. Just as he begins laughing with joy, he gets a massive fatal shot from behind. While bullets are whizzing all around them, Dean and McManus are scrambling through the steel hallways of the boat. They have a chance to inspect the boat when the pandemonium slowly settles. When they finally get together, in the cargo hold, McManus asks Dean where Todd is. When McManus asks Dean whether there is any marijuana aboard the yacht, Dean replies, "I don't know," and breaks out in hysterics. McManus exits after declaring he is done. Roger is hobbling along the boardwalk towards the boat and ducks behind a fence when Dean spots him and gestures for him to come aboard. McManus is walking out of the cabin and Dean asks him what's going on. Dean queries McManus as he exits the cabin, "What's going on?" He replies, "It's the strangest thing," and then collapses to the ground, an axe lodged in his back. When Dean gets shot from behind and falls to the ground, he is kneeling close to McManus and busy standing up. When Roger hears the gunfire and looks up, he notices a shadowy figure on the deck. He runs off as quickly as he can, hiding behind some ropes, and watches as Keyser shoots Dean twice before igniting the boat and leaving. Jack informs Dave at the station that they discovered a new victim on the beach. Before being thrown off the boat when it burst, he was shot in the head. Jack claims that Edie was providing guidance on Arturo's extradition processes and that he was a rat named Arturo who was ready to identify Keyser. Soon after, Dave returns to the office and informs Roger that he is certain that there was no marijuana aboard the boat, despite Roger's insistence to the contrary. Dave becomes combative and rants at Roger, accusing him of lying about seeing Dean's murder. Roger affirms that he saw Dean being shot and is not lying. Roger holds out his amputated hand in response to Dave's question about why he didn't try to assist him given their friendship. He confesses to Dave that he was reluctant to shoot the devil in the back for fear of missing. Dave asks Roger if he ever heard of Azuro, the snitch who was about to identify Keyser. He explains to Roger that this is the crux of the situation aboard the boat. The Hungarian mafia went there to purchase Azuro so they could track down Keyser. Dave answers that Dean must have heard about him through Edie when Roger admits he has never heard of him. Incredulous, Roger queries Dave about his claim that Keyser had directed them to murder someone. Dave responds that because Dean is Keyser, he is claiming that Dean committed the crime. Why would Dean advise a cripple like you to remain where you are and steal the money? Dave claims that Dean's death was a fabrication and that Roger didn't truly see it. There was no drug, Dean killed Azuro by using the entire bunch. As the knowledge clicks in, Roger is in disbelief. After Roger has left, Dave and Jeffrey are having coffee in the office when Dave discovers that some terms and names on Jeffrey's bulletin board correspond to specifics in Roger's account. He spills his coffee when he realizes that most of Roger's narrative was made up using only the words on the board and the environment around him. Dave pursues the man. Roger starts to walk normally as he limps down the sidewalk. He shakes off his twisted fingers to show a regular hand. He boards a vehicle that has just stopped next to him and inspects the driver. No other than Mr. Kobayashi is the driver. Dave arrives outdoors, but it's already too late. Roger was Keyser all along and he pulled the devil's trick, just like that, poof, he is gone. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to stay updated on future videos. Leave a like to support the channel.